Ka-chow, ka-chow. Welcome back to another video. Shadow here from Shadow Gaming. Now, we're near another review, Age of Darkness. Little disclaimer, as always, I got the game code for free. Thank you very much to the developers for giving me that, but it won't affect my review at all. If you've seen any of my other reviews, I am trying to be as best as I can and be unbiased and kind of give my personal interpretation of playing, regardless if it's good or bad. Tic-tac-toe, I'm a hoe. No idea why I just said that. That's super strange. Yeah, let's get onto the review. Let's head straight into the graphical settings. Obviously, there's not much to change here. It's an RTS. There's obviously a lot of stuff going on in the game. You want as much FPS as possible. You can tweak a couple of things like terrain quality, things like that. I personally didn't have any issues playing this in 4040p because legend, but I have heard that some other people have had some optimization issues, which is a little bit of a shame, but there's something they need to work on for the future. And the most important thing is that if you can hit 60, then you're going to be absolutely fine playing this. It shouldn't be a particularly taxing game for many machines, but unfortunately, I just don't think they'd hit it well with the optimization running on, certain hardware and things like that. This is an action RTS set in a dark fantasy world made by PlaySide Studios. They're kind of a small developer group who've made a couple of games, not that many. A lot of them are RPGs and RTSs. They are very experienced when it comes to this particular genre, which is good. I've had a look at some of the other stuff they've done. This is kind of the first entry they've done into this particular market and kind of the fantasy element of things, but it's good. I think they've done a decent job of putting this together, and obviously it's been in early access for a while, but now we're at 1.0, which is fantastic. And I feel like they've really hit the mark on some of this stuff, but I feel like there's also a lot of work to improve on, and especially with the optimization issues, there's a lot of things that I personally would want to see added to the game and fixed in the game, quality of life issues really pushed in the next couple of updates. The sound design is great, nice and crisp, clear cut music that fits the purpose of this setting. It's really nice sometimes to just be playing on multiplayer, for example, and kind of just being able to listen to the music and kind of get yourself immersed in the game. They've done a really good job of kind of balancing that out with the combat sounds and things like that. So when you have these bigger battles, it all kind of comes together in one big symphony, and they've done a really good job of making that fit well. Graphically, I really like this game. I think they've done well with the color palettes, especially bearing in mind that there could be so many enemies on your screen at once, especially when the hordes get bigger, and or if you're on survival mode, for example. They've done a good job at really making sure that the graphics are at a decent place, considering how much there's going to be and how much strain it could put on your machine just because of the big battles you can have in this game. But they also done a great job with the different landscapes and things like that, where they've got harsher and dark color palettes for some of the more washed out areas of the game, while they've kind of kept it nice and bright and colorful for the more areas that are for farming, where it's more habitable and things like that. I think that overall, graphically, it's a good game, but unfortunately, it's being let down by the optimization at the moment. So hopefully, again, they can get some updates and fix that out as soon as possible. Now, let's get into the gameplay. The campaign is very solid, great voice acting. They've done a good job at creating a story on a dark setting, especially considering what is out there already. They've done a decent job of trying to think outside the box a little bit and give you something a little bit different to play through. Now, the campaign can be a little tedious and a little bit slow at times, but if you can push through, it does have a decent pace at allowing you to learn the mechanics, and as you go through kind of learning the different ways to be able to stave off these kind of hordes and the best kind of strategies to have moving forward with the game. That is also a very steep learning curve, especially when considering like how much enemies you can literally be fighting at a time. It's kind of very strategic. You need to make sure you have the resources set, and altogether they've done a good job at making it and bringing it all together. The biggest bit of this game is 100% the co-op multiplayer. I really, really enjoyed the fact that you could jump on with a friend and, essentially survive as long as possible, trying to do different strategies, building together, expanding, gaining new resources and trying to go through and beat and basically survive as long as possible. They've done such a good job of making sure that in that kind of mode, you're essentially allowed to, build as much as you can. And when it all comes together with all like the different resources and the different buildings and things, you can have some absolute smashing fun. And I so much enjoyed it. I've played more of that than I have of the campaign, and there is a reason for that. And the only thing I don't like about that particular side of this game is that it's only two-player. I wish it could go up to four, then you could fight even more people, even bigger battles and things like that. And I do hope in the future they can bring that as a feature to people. But honestly, even if you don't want to do the campaign, just being able to sit on with a friend, and I played for absolutely hours, and we've been trying to figure out different strategies and what works and what doesn't work, and what you need to concentrate on. It's been an absolute blast just kind of figuring that out in our own way. Overall, the game is really solid. I've really enjoyed my time playing it. I feel like with more fixes and quality of life things thrown into updates moving forward, the optimization unfortunately is holding a lot of people back. And I agree that as it's been in early access for such a big period of time, it should have come out more optimized. And the fact that they haven't been able to, really nip that in the bud right off the bat, kind of a little bit disappointing. And it's something they really need to focus on moving forward. They also need to be able to update the co-op and multiplayer and add more different maps and things like that. Although it's all kind of auto-generated, but maybe like a new style of terrain and things like that, I think would go a long way with making this game even better than it currently is. But the question we've all been waiting for: is it worth your money? Now, this game sits at the moment on Steam. Translate it into your own currency, but for UK people, it's £22.50 along that line, and that's not bad for a sort of smaller developer's game. That price tag is not bad at all, especially considering the content you get. However, I completely understand why people are kind of putting off this game until it's fixed with optimization, because especially when this game, you will need that FPS and you need that performance to be able to play this at its full glory. I do not blame people for putting this off until they have fixed that with new updates. However, for the price tag and the content, it's definitely worth the money. Obviously, they've still got a long road to go. There needs to be quality of life improvements. They definitely need to work on optimization, and they need to flesh out the game as much as possible and continue to add new things to this to keep people coming back. But overall, for a base foundation, take the optimization out of it and look at it as a pure product, it is 100% worth the money at that price tag. It was just recently on sale, I believe, so it probably will go on sale again. But yes, it's 100% worth your time. For people who really liked We Are Billions, this is something that's different, something that's fresh. I think that they've done a really good job of taking that formula but adding their own spin on it. And to be honest, when you look at games like this in the RTS genre, there isn't much like this at the moment. And if you are not an RTS player or you just want to try something new, I think this is definitely worth your money. Thank you so much for watching this video. It means a lot to me. And please don't forget to comment, subscribe, and give me a juicy little like. That would be fantastic. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video again. Shadow out.